Welcome to the Arclight Battery, your power source for all things Warcraft Rumble related. In today's video, I'm joined by Goragrath here, who also joined me in one of the previous Arclight Rumblings episodes. How's it going, Gora?
Yeah, good to be back again. Got something exciting to show today, hopefully.
Awesome.
And we got another Onyxia kill.
Yes, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations, by the way. That's big.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it took quite a while. I won't sugarcoat this one. I was doing attempts every day for a couple of weeks, and eventually got it. And you'll see the video, and it looks easy. We'll get into that soon on my thoughts behind it, and then the gameplay.
Alright. Well, let's go over the deck first. I think that's a good place to start. So we've got Drakkisath, Pyromancer, Drake, Shaman, Whelp Eggs, Firehammer, and Flame Waker. Flame Walker? It's Flame Waker, right?
Waker, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Walk us through a little bit about the deck.
So for anyone that follows Onyxia kills, there's already been a lot of Drak kills. It's probably second easiest leader after Rend. I killed Onyxia back in beta with this same deck actually, around the same average level, if I remember rightly.
Nice.
So Drak is your one and only tank in this build, completely backed up by Shaman with the armor talent and the heals. Then that two-man team is then backed up by Pyro for your anti-air and just big AoE damage. So I'm running the extra splash radius on the Pyro just for that reason.
Awesome.
Drake is the go-to lane clearing of the whelps. And then I'm using Firehammer for the second lane, and I'm running Firehammer with the 50% extra damage against air units or air minis, just so she one-shots the whelps. So if you're a little bit late on the lane on the side with the Firehammer, she doesn't get overrun and killed. She will stack a Fury up, and then she kills hits every whelp as it comes in, flying in.
Nice. That's a really good tech.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of people run Firehammer. I know I don't. Mine's not even close to leveled up.
I really like Firehammer with that talent, just for all those flying bosses in the campaign. Whelp eggs, I think, are basically mandatory on this fight. You can build their up numbers during phase 1 and 2, up around the northern gold chest close to Onyxia. Then they hatch when Onyxia breathes, and they reclaim the towers and back immediately. And they also, once in phase 2, they kill the earth elementals too, if they happen to spawn in when Onyxia phase changes to phase 3.
Nice. Yeah, I think Whelpigs are extremely strong on this fight. Like you said, just being able to take back the towers instantly is kind of a big deal. It saves you a ton of time.
Saves you a lot of time. It then allows you to get another wave pushing up while the enemy minis are there retaking the towers. So it gives you it just gives a time buffer in between after the phase change to get yourself back on track. And then we have the Flame Waker. I don't think I've seen anyone else use him to kill Onyxia with since the full release globally. So he is just here for phase 3 to help kill the guardians that spawn. That is his primary role in this build.
And why is he so good at
that? His damage is just insane, and anything on the ground behind Drak, he hits. I'm running the burn talent with him just for a little bit of extra damage. But I do think all his talents are good in different scenarios. The Daze talent's also quite good. Allows him to trade one 1v1 with a lot more minis and live. And then the extended wave is also quite interesting in some scenarios where you know it's going to work. He can hit minis that like spawn at the far side of a tower when nothing else can touch him.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought he was a good PvE mini, but I never wanted to put XP into him because I didn't think I would ever play him in PvP. But I'm glad that he's being like used. It's so cool to see other minis than the norm.
Yeah, so between Flamewaker and Pyro, you have a lot of AoE damage. And Pyro hits hard enough to take out most of the air fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps against Gargoyle with Pyromancer. And, I mean, the extra flying damage, or damage against flying units on Firehammer is also probably pretty big against Gargoyle.
Yeah, occasionally. I don't know if I can't remember in this kill if I use Firehammer to kill any of the gargoyles, but she just melts them. If there's like a gargoyle coming down, I think there might be a gargoyle that comes down the side lane in this kill, and she just melts it.
Good, I'm excited to see that. So I've noticed that a lot of these minis are pretty expensive. Like we've got 4 cost, 4 cost, 4 cost, 4 cost, a couple of 3s, and then 5 in Drakkisath. And I'm also noticing the lack of Defias Bandits with the gold pick or the lock pick talent for extra gold out of the treasure chests. That's something that a lot of builds are using on Onyxia, and I think it's a really solid idea. It's how I would normally do it as well. But they're not here. Do you have any, like, I guess, reasoning for not including them here?
Yes, I was trying Defias Bandits for Picklock instead of the Flamewaker. And the extra gold is certainly nice, but it's, as you'll see, it's actually not needed when you have the minis at this level, at least. You could probably do it maybe a couple of levels lower on some of them. It just makes it a lot harder, though, especially with Drak being your only tank. You do really want him to be the highest level, just so he has that massive health pool to tank. Like, especially when you get grunts and then the Necromancer and then the Guardian all wailing on Drak. He needs all the help he can get. And then the other one I also so Defias Bandits I tried for the longest time, but kept getting to phase 3 and the Guardians just rolled me. So that's why I switched Flamewaker in, just to nuke them down as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then the other strat I tried instead of Defias Bandits was Skeletal Mages. And I think that was, Flamewaker was replaced with Defias Bandits, and Firehammer was replaced with Skeletal Mages. So that was a Onyxia kill video that was posted on Reddit a couple of weeks ago. I forgot who posted that one. And they used the Skeletal Mages behind your barracks to kill the Earth Elementals as they came in. It was like death by 1,000 cuts.
And the frostbite against them is so good too.
Yeah, and then the frost made them slow. So by the time, if you get like 4 lots of Skeletal Mages around your base, they die before they can touch it. Because they're slow on the way in, then they just die from 1,000 tiny hits.
Yeah.
The problem I had with that is then you needed to use your Pyro with your Drak push, and also you had to wait for the whelps to spawn in one lane. So you use your Drake in one lane to clear the whelps on the left, say, and then you use your Pyro after the whelps hatch on the right. But you got to get the timing just right and the placement just right every time, otherwise the whelps will get in and then nuke your Skeleton Mages.
Yeah.
And then your whole defense setup is ruined. So I tried that a fair bit too. But yeah, that didn't work out too well for me.
Yeah. So looking at your build as well, I know you said that the extra damage to flying units on Fire Hammer is pretty good and something used to catch up in different well planes. And the what is it called? Earth Shield talent on Shaman is probably pretty mandatory to give your Drakkisath armored. But other than those two talents, do you think the other talents are mandatory, or could they be interchangeable?
The Drak talent for resistance around him is probably not mandatory, but his other talents just aren't good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like especially his like his attack type talent where it attacks in a line. It maybe hits once in every like 20 strikes where it's actually useful. I found that during beta they had it differently, and I thought it was a lot better where it would cleave like he does in his heroic version or in his campaign version. But I think they thought it was a bit too strong.
Yeah, probably so.
Maybe they could change it to like the primary target takes 100% damage, and then targets around them take, 25% or 33% damage or something.
That's a pretty good idea.
I think that would make a lot more useful.
Yeah.
Pyro Splash is just nice for like killing the Necro off when Onyxia spawns it in behind the towers to defend. I'm running the Flame Burst on the Whelps, I think it is.
I think you're running Rookery, from what I see.
Was it Rookery? Yeah, I think I changed it to Rookery so they all hatch at the same time. The Whelps by themselves, even with Flame Burst or Rookery, they weren't enough to kill a Necro. Unfortunately, at this level. So occasionally I'd drop the Whelps onto a Necro to try and kill the Necromancer. Because Necro in this map's pretty annoying to deal with.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially for Drakkisath, just being able to, I guess, the Necro summons the Skelly Mages and gives him Frostbite, which, I mean, he's already pretty slow, so making him even slower is probably pretty rough.
Necro on this one just has the normal Skellies.
Oh, do they? Okay. That's how long it's been.
If they had like talents for Onyxia Fight, I think it would all be average level 28 army level.
Yeah, well, you can tell how long it's been since I've done this fight myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the talents and my reasoning behind it. Drake is the egg talent. I think it's just everyone seems to just love that talent for this map because you get so many eggs in a lane, and it can end up saving your bacon in some cases when there's just like 50 eggs in one lane. It makes it hard to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever is pushing down that lane will probably get through, but it's going to take them a couple minutes.
Yeah. I know some people like to run the Pyro Blast talent for the Pyromancer, where you deal triple damage on first hit. It's a great talent. Just don't like it for the Onyxia fight because it's such a big map and it's like your Pyromancer's alive for so long. Every second that she's alive, that talent gets less and less useful. And it might be great, like if you're having big problems with the gargoyles and they're like always getting through, you could look at using the triple damage on first hit just to nuke the gargoyle down. Yeah, but if you're like summoning Pyro like really fast all the time, like in a more cycled deck, I think Pyro Blast is really good, but not for a long fight like this.
Yeah, I can imagine that getting the extra damage on the first hit probably doesn't outweigh just the extra AoE that happens over the course of its lifetime. But yeah, exciting. I'm excited to see it in action. Well, you want to go ahead and get into the video?
Yeah, let's get it started.
Let's go ahead and get straight into the video then. I'm excited.
Alright, so This is probably attempt, I don't know, probably 100 or something by now. The opening sequence is very tight. For me, I want to get the grunts and the griffin here to spawn. If they spawn at Onyxia, it was just too annoying to deal with. So you can see Drak just survives there after being pummeled by the griffin.
And then gets stuck on the tower so Shaman can heal him up.
Yeah, so that's still a bug from like beta. It can be very annoying because your Pyro and Shaman can end up in front of your Drak, which you don't want.
Yeah.
Firehammer was on the left immediately, and then Drake to clear the eggs on the right. Flamewaker here to deal with the Necro. You can see he trades in pretty good, and then he grabs the chest for you.
That's huge. His range being that long to grab the chest is really good.
Yeah. The burn talent coming in clutch there because it's 2 hits, and then he will kill Necro with the burn damage.
And you dropping the fire hammer on the left lets it get up there to help support Drakkisath on that second tower, which is just
yeah. So that's grunts annoying. So again, Flamewaker to deal with that. You really need to move around this map a lot. I always found my attempts that did better were when I moved the camera around to all 4 corners of the map, continuously checking.
That's something
you can see the whelps.
Yep.
Like second lot of whelps going up, pairing for phase change. If you drop the Firehammer there on the left, right in the corner of this deployment zone, she'll walk to the left, but she'll get the chest in the middle.
That's a really good tip. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's what I did in beta. There's a 3 gold chest up the front near Onyxia, so I actually just dropped the Cobalt to deny her the gold more than anything else. Always spawn Drak Shaman right at the back. If you get your phase changes just right, they'll be pushing up past the first tower as the phase change happens, and then they're ready to push.
Nice. That's really good information.
That's where this fight goes from frustrating and hard to easy, is getting the timings of the phase changes down just right.
And that's something that I feel like is in all attempts for like every build. It's just like you might have an attempt that is 20 seconds long because you need to orchestrate it perfectly. And if it doesn't work, you just reset and go again.
So, where I spawn the Pyro here on the left is actually dangerous due to the whelp egg spawning in. She will turn around and attack the whelp egg that spawns in on the left lane.
Yeah, don't want that to happen before you're ready for it.
So I'm spawning the Shaman here with a Drak, even though the lanes are spawned in with whelp eggs, just because I don't want to break my Drak and then Shaman cycle.
I like that.
So you can see where I spawned the Pyro there on the top left tower to clear the Spiderlings out, but not to get in within range of that last whelp egg.
You're doing really good at managing gold too, it looks like. There's not just like random gold veins that have gold in them sitting, which a lot of people will.
So the idea, you got the 2 chests, and then you've got the 4 gold nodes. You want to spawn in your Cobalt Miner on like one side, and then next spawn in, he comes around. You want him to spawn, use him on the other side, and just keep that rotation going. Like every time he's up, just immediately drop him. With the only caveat being, don't drop him in the lane with a Firehammer, because the Firehammer will spawn a whelp, and then the whelp egg will hatch and kill the Cobalt in one hit.
Yeah, I've done that quite a few times. Not with Firehammer, but with other things.
But but you can spawn the Cobalt in the same lane as the Drake with no issue at all.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Drake will hatch and then kill before the Whelps have a chance to do anything.
Yep.
The other key thing is to use your Flame Waker and Pyro to keep your towers close to Onyxia as safe as possible. So there's no Whelp eggs down at the moment, so I'm using the Flame Waker to defend the Earth Elemental at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
If there was, I would have dropped the Drake instead.
We've already got a couple Whelp eggs as well set up for phase transition, which is nice.
Yeah, so here we go. You can see the timer's getting into overtime. So I dropped the Drak and Chamois at the middle tower on the right. So they will now push up and meet the other Drak Chamois team.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm getting short on time and I need to force the phase change immediately. I've got a little bit of time before Drax damage Onyxia into phase 3, so I dropped the Pyro and Flame Waker to try and kill those grunts there and the spiderlings.
Mm-hmm.
So got a little bit desperate there. The Drake is only level 24, doesn't really have the damage to kill the Earth Elemental too fast. So I dropped the Drak to finish him off really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm dropping Pyro and Flame Waker in together for the Guardian here.
Okay.
Right, so we hit, if you pause here, Mini.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just gone into the last minute where we get the overtime gold, and you can see where the Guardians are pushing up to.
Mm-hmm.
This was how I got the kill. It was having the gold overtime. The Guardians were close enough where I could deal with them. They went too far away, but I also had a minute to push through that top Guardian. And then Drax can walk to Onyxia and actually start hitting her. So that's where this kill went from, or these attempts went from being hard to being easy, is just getting this timing just right here.
Yeah, and if you get double Drak, double Shaman to Onyxia, it's pretty difficult for her to kill those, correct?
Yeah, so like 3 is unkillable with no
Mhm.
interference with other spawnings.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 will last for a long time. If they get all pushed up together nicely, so the 2 shamans should, the chain heal should hit from the Drak at the front to the shamans at the back,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully the 2 shamans will be healing each other as the primary.
Mm-hmm.
So it will bounce from shaman 1 to shaman 2, and then back to themselves, and then to the one of the Draks at the front.
Mm-hmm.
So we might see that in this fight.
All right. You ready to continue?
Yep, so here we are. Basically, we've got to push for Onyxia by also defending.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the Drak, Shaman, and Pyro is here to stop that Guardian coming up, the second Guardian here.
Man, Drak is so tanky against the Guardians with Shaman.
Yeah. So now that I know that the base, my barracks is safe with the Drak, Shaman, Pyro combo there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing everything I have into Onyxia, and there we go. About 11 seconds remaining.
Room looks pretty clean. Not gonna lie. There wasn't.
Yeah, it's all about that timing.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't a bunch of wasted gold. There wasn't a bunch of like I guess just mine sitting with 3 gold in them forever. You didn't really play anything that just immediately died to a Drake or a Griffin or a Whelp Egg or anything like that. And you've only got 130 sigils. So that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So I've completed the heroic campaign all the way through with Drak already. I just haven't bothered to level up any of the other leaders. Everything's just been going into this team to kill Onyxia.
I love it. That's so good.
So I go down, show where I'm up to here. I should have showed my actual heroic campaign progress, but I forgot to do that.
That's okay. And here's your team.
And then yeah, here's the army again.
That's so good. Yeah, that looked really clean. But how many attempts did you say it took you?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't count, but it was probably over 100.
Yeah, and so just like for anyone out there watching that has tried it maybe like 50 times or something, and they keep getting stuck on certain places, it really is just about everything lining up and really learning the timings and really making sure you are making no mistakes or as little as possible. And that's something that I think everyone experiences when they kill Onyxia for the first time, is that they're just constantly resetting because one little thing goes wrong and you might as well just restart the attempt. So don't give up if you are out there and you're trying and trying and trying and you haven't quite got it yet. It'll come. You just gotta keep trying. So,
yeah, one of probably the second biggest thing after getting the timing just right is making sure that none of the minis get past those top 2 towers. Is if like the Necro get into one of the side lanes where the Whelp eggs spawn, they are a pain to deal with. You got to spend so much extra gold trying to deal with them when you need to be pushing an Onyxia, getting ready for the phase change, like something like that. They're really annoying to deal with. And just if I saw that, I would just restart anything that got into a side lane that I didn't want to be there. So that's where the Flame Waker Pyro being dropped right at the front, just behind the towers to defend, were critical. You can't lose the front tower. Otherwise, the minis will walk past. You got to push back that tower. Then you have to deal with the minis that are in a lane where your Drak is not walking in. Yeah, just makes it really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up the video?
Just and then thirdly, probably the opening sequence. If you deploy a mini like slightly differently, half a millisecond earlier, it can completely change the spawn behavior of the enemy AI. So even if you just practice the first like 30 seconds and then find what works for your deck and how you get the best push going, that's the best case scenario. So sometimes the 2 grunts would spawn and the griffin would spawn at Onyxia's like right leg, and then 2 grunts would then go to the top gold chest, open that up, and then they would split, with one coming down the right hand lane and then going to the middle tower, and the other one going to the left, going past the top left tower, then coming down. Which is fine for that grunt because you'd run into your Drak and your Shaman team. But the other grunt, he would just come in, kill that tower solo because of the level difference, and then he's pushing your barracks.
Yeah.
And probably taking the gold chest that respawns near your barracks.
Yeah, and that's something I experienced too, and also another thing that I think everybody experiences while doing Onyxia. When I was killing it for the first time, I probably had 30 attempts in the first 5 minutes, just like making sure I got the opening correctly. Everything had to be the exact same timing, the exact same placement, so that the AI would react to you the same way, and you could figure out how to respond to it. And it is a lot of trial and error. A lot.
Yeah. And then there's so many times where I would do the opening sequence and the AI would spawn the grunts and griffin at Onyxia. It's just like, why did this happen? What did they do differently? I thought it was the same.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like you feel like you need to record like your input, and they just have a button that you can click and just like play, so it does the exact same drops at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just so finicky and like temperamental.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's everything. Guess we will sign off. Thank you so much, Gora, for joining us and sharing your kill. Super appreciate it. I know everyone on the channel will really appreciate watching it and learning a little bit from it. So yeah, thank you.
No worries, thanks for having me. And at least this time I managed to record it, unlike the beta kill.
I remember that, how you were talking about it in beta, and then you were like, I don't have the video.
Yeah, the video shadow recording turned itself off.
Mm-hmm.
At least this time I started checking to make sure it was turned on before I did my attempts this time. So yeah, we got there.
I appreciate it because I'm
Finally
so
got proof.
excited. I'm so excited to share this. So, alrighty, well that wraps it up for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Super appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Catches.